Welcome back, guys. My name is Xaelfas, and this is Survival of the Fittest. Did my typical start, made my starter items, my 2 bows, my 3 spears, my gathering items. Haven't cleared that from the queue just yet on the list. Taking a bit of a risk right in this area. I don't know if you can hear the storm in the background. Okay, so you can hear the storm in the background while I'm recording this. Well, you know, we'll just pretend it's effects. So anyway, I'm going ahead and making my leather. Gathered up a good amount of leather. I don't think I killed that guy. I think he died to a dilo, if I remember correctly. I hadn't recorded at this point, so I do believe I killed him, but hey. Anyway, gathered up enough of what we need to go ahead and do our next bit. My plan was to jump across, try to gather anything I could, and go from there. I don't necessarily try to do a large tame or anything, it just depends on the area. Now, there currently is nothing over there, but being further away from the center at the beginning is not a bad thing. Unless, of course, you're trying to hunt the smaller, weaker players. A little bit of distance gives you a lot of opportunity in this game. So, the reason for the name, Plan B, I did not intend on using pistols this game whatsoever. But, you know, we do what we must. One of the most important things I've seen in this game, rather than having different tactics and things like that, is to be able to adjust to whatever happens in the game at the time. And you get to see a tremendous failure on my part. And I wish I could tell you it was the first time or the last time, but those would probably both be lies. Ah, bugs. Always bugs. So I like this area quite a bit, even though I don't often get the opportunity to come over here. I have a tendency to spawn on the opposite side, and I don't like to take the time to cross the map, go through middle, or anything like that. I often will just take what I already know is on the other parts of the map. Now, I'm trying to gather up what I need. I want to knock out the Spino and get it tamed up. And I'm hoping for some beacon drops and things like that. They're very common. I think because there's 2 separate types of drops in the groupings. And this area is open more than long enough, I should say, to take advantage of them in most games. Every once in a while I've seen one where there's just never a spawn over here, but it's not nearly as inconsistent as most things. Like, you know, 3 mega heats in a row, 3 acid rains, you know, that kind of consistency. Does happen though, for sure. Now, the cost of this area too is it's a little more treacherous than a lot of the areas that I'll frequent in the island. At least it seems to be. Maybe it's just because I spend less time over here, so I'm a little less familiar with the spawns. But you get RGs and things like that, and every once in a while RGs are a bit of a pain for me, only because I can't use a rock for a moment to make arrows or what have you. As I'm not always prepared when I come over here. Every once in a while I come across some early hide slightly faster, and if there's already a beacon down, I know I'm competing with other players for it, so it's usually a rush to get over there. And sometimes even with just a spear, but not very often. I find I don't like to really try to do anything that's going to engage until I have a bow. It's just, I guess, your first most important step to me in this game. Yeah, I don't think he's very high level. Acid rain, of course. I'm beginning to think that it's like a requirement that I give you at least 1 acid rain per video. I guess you could say the same with the Meganura and such, but you know, it is what it is, guys. He's not really fixated on anyone else. Now he is. Before he was gonna swing back through here, but the terrain's our advantage. It's a really good area to tame one up, as long as, you know, you're not off guard the entire time. It's easy to get hunted over here. At least in my opinion. Had some good bow fights over here too, though. All right, he's down. Now we just need our prime meat. I see a lot of people taming them with regular meat, and that's just not gonna happen in survival of the fittest. If you're gonna tame a large dino, you really have to get prime meat. I still can't understand, unless someone's brand new to the game, even trying to do it with regular meat. It's just simply not worth it. The cost and time alone versus just going and killing a trike or a stego. Now, I will admit, earlier in the game, both of which seemed more lethal to me as well, but as you get a better feel for what you're capable of versus what they're capable of, you can kill many trikes and stegos before they even get to you. Aiming with headshots, things like that, but you know, like I said before, once your bow gameplay is decent, it doesn't even have to be great, then the whole game changes for you. It also helps not to be terrified of every dino that charges you. So here's my mistake. I'm not sure if at one point they had changed exactly how much Topor Spinosauruses had, things like that, but it's, in my mind, lower than it used to be. I guess I just didn't tame enough of them originally, or perhaps I was too accustomed to there being a double tame or something that popped up. But yeah, they wake up kind of quickly. Anyways, trying to get that prime. Obviously took my time doing it with the free turtle sitting over there. I don't really use him for anything this game, but I'm kind of opposed to not finishing a tame on an unconscious that's free. That's kind of ideal right there, except for when the bugs come in. Block your shots. I don't know what level he is. He's actually pretty durable. So anyway, always dealing with bugs. You kind of get used to them. There's our beacon drop that we were looking for. I believe that's the one that hits every single beacon on the map. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And that means that we now have a beacon right behind us. Now, I could have gone further down that ridge and grabbed it, but I'd already decided to drop that Spino. So to me, it's not worthwhile to leave the area to go get it. And we take over risk here with the with the Mega Piranha, the other Mega. Now that we have supply overload, we know for sure we have at least one drop behind us, potentially two. So even if I was wrong before, it's corrected me by having both back to back. That's more than enough prime for any dino. They eat one every 2 minutes, usually takes, I want to say 3 to 4 prime, depending on level, so it could vary quite a bit, but I would say the typical 3 or 4, something along those lines. I don't really sit by and count. I'm always doing something else while I tame now. It originally used to be a singular focus to defend a tame, things like that, but you're actually far better off just attempting to get another one and things like that, because in the end you're just kind of playing an RNG game with this map anyway. The elements can kill you, the spawns can kill you, that random player that's just been waiting for the right moment can kill you. So, you know, competitive game with all kinds of added elements that aren't normally in a competitive game. And then look at this. This plant here. It's a rock plant, obviously. The worst berries you can ever get. Break your teeth. It's awful. No, but seriously, it could, like, 4 handfuls and it's all rocks. That's one of the annoying things about this area, I should say. So, gonna try and get up to that drop. We got that wall to deal with, and we're cutting time a little close. Now, the Spino, I think, will be all right. I think we'll be able to tame it, even if we have to cross river and come back and grab it. This is gonna be a little bit of a longer video than the previous video, only because there are more things to share with you in this. Especially since, you know, like I said, we end up with Plan B. The interesting thing to me about this game is that you can have so many different things happen that completely change the course of the game. I've seen, I want to say, 4 or 5 dead apex predators in this game that were player owned, and at the end of the map, everyone that was left fighting was fighting with bows and things like that. So, you know, making the right decision on when to engage can be just as important as actually having something to engage with. I'm grabbing specific things because at this point I am kind of hoping to get a gun or something like that. I want to use the Spino, ideally anyway, to get it. Now, I always pump my weight, so I wasn't too worried about being overburdened right there, but had I, that probably would have died. Not always too quick on dropping items and getting out. The oil I pick up because I want explosives in particular, and you make grenades with the oil. Now, you can harvest it, but it's one of the hardest things for me to figure out where they spawn. And I'm sure there's a map out there or something, but yeah, it's not going to help us today. All right, grabbed everything we wanted. I was really happy to see some free chili. It's like the, well, one of the best things. Now we got a double tame. I'm actually certain we're going to get our Spino at this point. Going to grab ahead some narcos. And he's already up. So all that effort and everything else, we're a little short on time. I'm definitely out of patience with the Spino. I want to say this is the second or third time that it actually happened. And I pretty much learned from my mistake on that one. I more often will try to tame a Rex before a Spino, specifically because the Spino requires a little bit of babysitting and the T-Rex does not. I've tamed high-level T-Rexes without ever giving it a single narco. Now that may change with time, as this game is always in development, but you know what? We're just gonna kind of cut our losses here and make a decision. It's more of a question of where to go next. See that player on the right-hand side dancing around the other dinos? Now, obviously, the parachute's a big giveaway, but we're not going directly at him either. And there's all those Mega Piranha that we managed to ignore and avoid for so long. Now that we're done with that side of the map, they no longer matter. Barrier's starting to come in. So this guy's been working on a furnace that I could see already, probably a smithy, trying to just see if he's moving to engage or not. Now, the more advanced players would have easily caught that parachute and been engaging me already, in all likelihood. The better you are, the more likely you're just going to eliminate a player than avoid engaging and things like that. As you can see, I choose the latter. Trying to see what I'm really dealing with as well. Not that recon's an actual thing in this game most of the time. It can be the difference between walking into your own death and walking away for another fight. Okay, so he's occupied. I have no idea what he's doing, but he's occupied. Got a tamed Phiomia, which, you know, you see that all the time. I don't understand why he tamed a Phiomia, but I don't care to find out either. So what I really want is, I'm assuming he's got something at this point. I want to try to tip this into our favor a little bit. I want to use his smithy to see what he's got. And then maybe make something real fast. We'll see. You can see I'm real hesitant to reveal myself. I'm trying to take advantage of this and then make my move, as opposed to just trying to catch him while he's doing whatever he's doing. So, you know, jury's out on which is the better call. It really is too situational to tell you. It's got all that chitin in there, though. Just needs hide, and we've gotten a little bit of hide. Enough for that suit armor, anyway. So, staying out of that menu so I can actually see. Stick into the rock so I'm not moving around out in the open where he can see me from some other angle. We have a set of armor. It's time to kill all these bugs. Now, if that had been, say, a Carno drop, it would have been a lot more unfortunate for us. Probably would have hit the smithy or something, and it only takes a hit or two for them to break it. T-Rex or something of that nature. You know, I said it was time to kill those bugs, but realistically, they can be useful. He's killing those bugs. He's got some chitin, not a full suit. I've just dragged those bugs into him because they will follow you unless you hit water or something like that. He had some chitin on. We're going to balance the scales. And now we're going to unbalance them with some focal chili. Your movement speed increases quite a bit, and you're much harder to hit, so long as you keep moving while you're fighting. Slightly harder to hit your targets until you're really accustomed to it, I would say. It's way too stalker-like on this one, I know, but I'd been having a couple of bad runs with charging in full-fledged and getting out headshotted by other players. Didn't want him to know exactly where I was, but obviously he's not a great player because he would not have been out in the open cutting trees and stuff like that right after seeing another player engage him. So here we are. We've got our metal tools from him and everything else. And then what is that? Another player? Why are there two here? Exactly. Either he was stalking him or he just arrived in the area from having some hardships on the other side, just like myself. Either way, I probably shouldn't have been grabbing this loot right here either, but I didn't want him to take it. And yeah, you don't see that every day. There he is. Contestant number 2. So this is the most good a Phiomia has ever done in the game for me. Including the regular game, where you actually use them for something. And I'm guessing they have a water attack, because he just died. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to rake up 10 kills with a Phiomia. It's going to die. But it's done its duty. But we do have our metal tools. We've got a little bit of time. We've got enough metal. Now, I've already grabbed the scope for the guns, whichever I decide on. Now, at this point, there's not a whole lot of time, so we're not going to go crazy. And we only have one furnace to work with. So, in all likelihood, pistol would ultimately always be the decision. But, you know, time will tell. Unfortunately, the pikes themselves have a really, really low durability. I'm not sure if it's something they're going to change later, if it's the result of a bug or what have you. They did call it a bug at one time, but it's increasingly difficult to tell whether it is a bug or if they changed their mind on it. Now, no gunpowder. Assuming that's one of the things this guy was working on. I can't place anything on his structure, so, you know, we're getting to be in a bit of a time crunch. Now, this is using the old wall, in fact, by the way. You see it slowly creeping in, and it's still fairly early in the match by current standards. Who knows if we'll revert back to the old one or not. You'll see a lot less big threats in the game with the old one than you will with the new one. The new one, you actually have to kind of turn it up a notch to make sure you're competitive with everyone else's in-game. Alright guys, I'm going to finish putting some stuff together, craft up a little bit, make full use of the station, and I'll bring you back shortly thereafter. So we finish up all of our crafting. I go ahead and put on all of my focal chili and things. As you can see, we made it outside of the Ring of Death with plenty of time. We managed to get out of there at 2 seconds. Now we've made it up to the ramp, and it's time to test our skills. Because the pistol with the scope is insanely better than just the pistol. Whenever you see a player's name while looking through a scope, you know you're on target. It's a guaranteed hit, as opposed to wondering consistently if you've hit your target or not. Now, there's a lot of little spots where people like to go. You see these bugs right here? Where that tree overlaps right there? People love to hide in that little area. And this Bronto didn't get here on its own. So someone's been sitting up here. And they're still here. And now he's dead. Easiest headshot ever. Okay, there's been a few easier ones, but you know, he's sitting completely still. I'm wondering if he has anything. He was naked with a bow, so probably not, but you know what? We have the time to check. Now, I've had similar games to this before. I've actually had one where I had every single gun. I had my scopes. I had everything that I could desire, minus a few explosives. I didn't actually have any at that time. And I got bugged out on a Scorpion. Its hitbox glitched me out, and I got stuck, and it beat me to death. So, you know, these are not a sure thing. They are consistent, though. If you can consistently build your guns, get scopes, and everything else, then you've got a good chance. Hey, look, a repeat from earlier. This was a very strange game, by the way. But, you know, you end up with a lot of holdouts. And that's what we had this game. Broken Bones made it easy. Just hitting them at this point. Now we have what I perceive to be plenty of ammo. With the scope, I'm not expecting to fire more than a full clip to kill each player, basically. And we're just whittling down through the other guys. So things look good. Now, I do have that crossbow for backup, and I've been pretty used to using the crossbow at this point, so it's not exactly difficult. Now, it was later that they added the grappling hooks, which have, I found anyway, been tremendously useful in the game. I'll show you some of that later on. We're just biding our time. We no longer need a lot of movement speed. Haven't been seeing anyone getting shot up or anything by other players. I mean, it's possible, but at this point I'm pretty confident that we've got this. I'm seeing too many players that are still alive that someone else would have eliminated. So just taking our pot shots. Very difficult to get a headshot at this particular range for me and my mouse sensitivity. I can change it, but you know, I'm not really accustomed to switching those kind of settings back and forth or anything like that, so we just played it out like a normal game. Just taking pot shots at either one. I don't care who dies, I just want to have them take damage. The last one could have been a headshot, could not have been. I'm not sure. Pot shots once again. I know this guy has taken a decent amount of damage at this point. Once he hops off of that, I know that he's probably got that thing to neutral and it can aggro me. We'll see. Waiting to see what he does. Only 2 players left. Still taking my pot shots. That may not have hit him. It could have actually hit the railing next to him or something like that. It's incredibly hard to tell. But, like I said, if you see the name, you've got to hit. So, at this particular point in the game, it's without any dinos or anything, it doesn't make sense to press forward. Take advantage of all the range you've got. If you have some form of concealment, use it. Have no idea what this guy is up to. I'm not sure how he's taken so many hits so well. I know I'm not hitting him in the head, but even torso shots hurt quite a bit. It's not like he's got flak armor. Not trying to take any shots that miss at this point. So he's engaged the other player from the looks of things. Okay, so the guy we've been shooting for the last couple of minutes is now dead. Strike's still there. I don't see anyone claiming it, but that's the other guy. Well, there you go. Easiest kill for the end of the game. He knocked him unconscious, and the win is ours. If you have any comments, please feel free to mention in the fields below. Like and share if you liked the video. And for future content, subscribe. I'll be updating as frequently as possible, guys. Thank you for watching.